This is lesson 29, part 2, and we'll be continuing our discussion of note names in the treble clef. In musical terms, pitch refers to how high or low we perceive a tone to be. There are two basic types of sound waves, random waves and uniform waves. We perceive random sound waves as indefinite pitches or essentially noise. Uniform waves are perceived as definite pitches, or in other words, musical tones. In Western music, we refer to specific uniform sound waves, or musical tones, by letter names. The musical alphabet consists of just 7 letter names, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And after that, we just continue to repeat that progression. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. The composer represents these pitches or specific musical tones on the staff by placing note heads on or above and below the staff. So within a single clef, a note placed on, say, line 3 will have a different pitch than a note placed on, say, line 1.
We are returning to Unit 3, which is the pitch unit, Lesson 1 in J. Albrecht's Ready to Read Music. We'll be beginning where we left off with the second page of Unit 3, Lesson 1. And it says to place the correct letter name under each note in the treble clef. So first of all, let's just recall what it means to be reading music in the treble or G clef. We see the curly Q action here, and that reminds us that a note placed on line 2 of this staff will be a G. And we're going to use that knowledge to figure out all the other letter names here. So even though they've done it for us already and written a C, let's just make sure we understand how they derive that letter name. So if this is a G on line 2, space 2 would be A, B, and then C. Recall our musical alphabet, and that when we move up from a line note to the next adjacent space note, or from a space note to the next adjacent line note, we are moving by stepwise motion, so we are moving to the very next letter name. Taking a look at our next pitch on the staff, you can see that it's a half note. The stem is going up on the right because that note head is below line 3. And it's actually right on line 2, so we know it's a G. And notice that we've skipped over a bunch of letter names to get from C to G. So we would say that that was skipwise motion, and we skipped down. So we skipped backwards through our musical alphabet. Looking at our next pitch, we can see that we have a note head on line 1 of the staff. This is an 8th note with a flag hanging down on the right. The stem is up on the right because, again, it's below line 3. And we can see that this note is lower than the 2 notes before it. And I can see that because it's not the very next space below or above this G, that I must be again moving by skip instead of step. If this is a G, I'm going to step 1 step down to the next space. This will be an F. And then I'm going to step down again. This will be an E. So I went from a G, step down to F, and then step down to E. I have another 8th note as my next note. You'll notice this one, because it's in line 4, has the stem going down on the left. The flag still goes on the right side, but now it's up. So this would be our highest note so far, because it's the highest up on the staff. So again, starting with our line 2, G, I'm just going to go up by step to the very next space. This would be A, then B would be the next line, C would be the next space, and then this is a D. So I climbed up by step from G to A to B, B to C, C to D. And of course you could see that I definitely skipped from this low E to this D. So I would say that I skipped up from E to D. Looking at our next pitch, we have a whole note. That whole note is on space 4. And this time, because I know that this is a D, I'm just gonna use that as the starting point for finding this letter name. You'll notice this is the highest note on this entire staff, and we just step up from D to E. So because this D is on line 4, and this note is in the very next space adjacent to this D, which is on line 4, we can know we just step up from D to E. Looking at our next note head, we have a quarter note. On line 3, the stem is going down on the left. And if this is my G, I'm going to step up. The next space would be A, and then this will be a B. Notice again that we've covered a span of several letter names. So this is again a skip away from this higher E. And we would say we skipped down from E to B. I just want you to note that this note, with the note head placed on space 4, shares the same letter name as this note head on line 1. We say that these notes are 1 octave apart. So this would be the lower octave and this would be the upper octave. We call this an octave because if we count the letter names from the low E to the high E, we will find that we have a total of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Think octopus or octet. Oct meaning 8, of course. So anytime we go from one letter name, say A, to the next A, we would say we have covered 1 octave. Looking at our final note head, I see a note on space 1 with a stem going up and on the right. This is my G. I can see that I'm actually below that, so I'm going to be descending from G down to the very next space, so I'm moving by step to an F, from G to an F. So from this B to this F, I have skipped down. Draw quarter notes in the treble clef for each of the following letter names. Don't forget to draw the stem correctly. In some cases, there may be more than one correct answer. And what they're referring to is places like this, where there might be 2 E's that could fit onto that staff. This E, of course, because it's lower on the staff, will be a lower version of E. And this E, because it's higher on that same staff, will be a higher version of that E. So higher voices might be more comfortable singing this E, and lower voices might be more comfortable singing this E, but we would still consider them to be singing in unison. So they've already given us the first answer, but we're going to make sure we understand how that works and decode this. So if this is a treble or G clef, we know that because of this curly hue action, this line here is a G, because this space note is directly next to this line note, which is our G. We know we move by step from a G to an A. Now we need to draw a C. So let's again start here. This is G. We will just step up by going to the next adjacent space to an A, and then a B will be the next line, and a C will be right here in space 3. So I'm going to draw a note head right here. They wanted me to draw a quarter note, so I'm going to need to fill in this note head. And then I'll draw a stem going down and on the left because I'm at line 3 or above on this staff. For our next note, we need an F. So I'm going to start right here on a G. And now I'm going to first of all just step back 1 letter name to this F. So the very next space actually would be an F. So I'll draw a quarter note there first of all. And then the stem will go up and on the right because this note is below line 3. But as it turns out, there's another F in the treble clef that I could write on the staff. So I'm going to go up instead. G, A, B, C, D, E, F. So I could also draw a note head right there on line 5. It's much higher up on the staff, of course. So again, this will be a higher version of F. It will be 1 octave higher than this note head right here, because I've covered the span of 8 letter names. And I'll need a stem going down and on the left because I'm above line 3. For our next note, it asked us to write a D. So starting here on G, I'm going to go up A, B, C, D by step. I'll be on line 4. I'll draw a note head there, a quarter note with a filled in note head and a stem going down and on the left. For our next note, we need a G. Well, that's pretty easy. We know that we just need a note head right on line 2. And we're going to have a stem going up and on the right because we are below line 3. And then for our final note, starting on G, I'm just going to go up by step, G, A, B. And I'll need a note head right here, a filled in note head on line 3 with a stem going down and on the left. Draw a quarter note F, which is higher than the note printed on the staff. Okay, so first of all, recalling that we are in the G or treble clef, we remember that this is our G, A, B, and this note right here will be our C. And now let's draw an F, which is higher up the staff. So if this is a C, we know we need to keep climbing. D, E, F. And they want us to draw a quarter note, so we need a filled in note head on line 5. Notice that we've skipped up from C to F. And I'm going to draw a stem down and on the left side because this note head is above line 3. Then it says to draw a half note A, which is lower than the note printed on the staff. So again, here's our G. So A, B, C. This note here will be a D. And we need to go lower on the staff. So we're going to go backwards through our musical alphabet from a D to a C to a B to an A. Draw a half note right here on space 2, and the stem will go up and on the right because our note head is below line 3. So notice that we skip down from this D to this A. Draw a whole note C, which is higher than the note printed on the staff. So this is an easy one. This is a G because it's on line 2. And we need to head up because we need to draw a note that is higher. So G, stepping up to the next space would be A. The next line would be B. And then C is right here, and we need a whole note, so an open note head with no stem. Right here in space 3.